Hi, my name is Jake Spurlock, and I love movies. I went to film school once upon a time, and where I paid a lot of money to watch a lot of movies, make some terrible ones with my friends, and dream of golden idols. I want to talk about film structure, specifically how it relates to movies, where you can learn how to critique a movie. So let's get right into it. I want to talk about the 3 acts that are in most major films, and then how Frank Daniel created the idea of the 8-sequence structure. So to get started, Act 1 is the first quarter of a screenplay. In this act, the exposition takes place. This includes the introduction of the protagonist, establishes the premise of the film, and the inciting incident occurs approximately halfway through the first structure. Now, Act 2 comprises the next 2 quarters of the film. The main character encounters an obstacle that prevents the character from achieving his dramatic need. Approximately halfway through the film, the main character reaches his or her lowest point and seems furthest from fulfilling the dramatic need or objective. Act 3 comprises the final quarter of the film. The climax occurs as well as the denouement, a brief period of calm at the end of the film where a state of equilibrium returns. Now, with filmmaking, the original films, they were on reels that were only 10 to 15 minutes long. So a filmmaker, when they wanted to do a longer film, there would literally be a fade to black so the projectionist could switch reels. This led to creating these sequences that needed to hold up their own structure as the film went on. Now, one of my favorite movies of all time is Toy Story. I remember seeing it when I was 12 years old, and falling in love not just with the characters, but the movie itself. So let's dig into the sequences of Toy Story and see how the story comes together. Now, the first sequence is all about exposition, learning who the characters are, and establishing the initial conflict. Andy's birthday is coming up, and the fear of being replaced as the favorite toy, Woody goes out to get all of the characters and calm them down that nobody will be replaced. But along comes Buzz, and Woody spends the next 6 minutes of the film unified in his resolve to assert his superiority over Buzz, an issue that didn't even exist before the movie started. The sequence ends with a dangling clause, "You'll see. In a few days' time, everything will be the same, and I'm still Andy's favorite toy." With the end of the second sequence, though, we're catapulted into the second act, and the dramatic tension is set. Will Woody be able to reclaim his position at the top of the toy chain? Now, the third sequence starts with the protagonist and the first chance for him to solve a problem. But often, as many times they do, they ultimately fail. This is the case as Buzz raises in popularity. Woody follows with both verbal and a physical attack that pushes him out of the window by mistake by an RC car. After ending up at Pizza Planet, the goal is the same for Woody in the fourth sequence: get Buzz back home and clear his name. The overall objective, regaining his position with Andy, is still there, but he now faces the anger of Buzz and the difficulty of getting home. Now, at this juncture, we see the skill of the storytellers, as the protagonist and the antagonist are bound together. In fact, the protagonist is put into the difficult situation of getting the antagonist, the one person on earth he likes the least, to cooperate with him. Now, the fifth sequence begins with another dangling clause. Woody states, "You guys don't get it. Once we get into Sid's house, we won't be coming out." The sequence also leads to the major culmination of Buzz's arc. He sees a commercial where it's reinforced that he is, in fact, a toy. This sets in a great deal of disillusionment that Woody seeks to rectify. In the sixth sequence and the last of the second act, Woody attempts to revive Buzz's spirits, but winds up trapped with Woody strapped to a rocket. This is the final culmination of the film. Woody is trapped, Buzz is doomed. In the seventh sequence and beginning of the third act, Woody no longer desires to suppress Buzz as Andy's favorite toy, and the tension shifts. The objective, can they carry out Woody's plan? And when successful, can they get back to Andy before the moving van leaves? The climatic chase to get into the moving van finishes the movie, the third act, and the final sequence. The premise has been carefully set up since the beginning of the film. They need to get back into the car if they want to see Andy again, and that they do. Now, it's interesting to note here that the full transformation of the characters. Buzz leaps off the truck to save the life of Woody, the person that sought to take his own life a few sequences prior. And the RC car that was instrumental in making that possible before is now the tool to aid in the recovery. The final payoff, of course, is when the match blows out the would-be propulsion of the rocket. Woody uses the Buzz's dome to light the match, and both literally and figuratively, they both explode, taking off over the truck and landing in the car with Andy. The only implied tension that remains is that they are both toys and have to carry the facade of still being toys around Andy. But they both are now on equal footing as Andy's favorite toys. And that's film production analysis, the sequence approach.